Now, chances that you've clicked on this video is likely that you are struggling in maths, whether that be GCSEs or A levels, and you need to know how to get an A star. Well, you can trust me because here are my results for IGCSE, and here's my result for Pure 1 Edexcel A levels. Now, I know exactly how to navigate through the whole maths syllabus, and I know how to score a good grade in it. So in today's video, there are going to be 4 topics which we are going to be discussing, which will eventually lead you to get an A star in both either GCSE or A level. So the 4 things that we're going to be discussing in this video are going to be the main tips you need to get an A star, how you should be doing your past paper practice, scheduling, which is through like as in your whole schedule throughout the year, how you're going to complete the syllabus and how you're going to do your past papers. And the final one, general tips during the exam. So what can you do during the exam that will land you an A star? So I'm not going to waste any more of your time, and let's just dive right into the first topic. The first point that I would say everyone needs to work on is their mindset when it comes to maths. Now, I get a lot of people find maths hard, but that's exactly what leads to their downfall as well. So if you're studying maths and you dislike maths, you have to basically delude yourself into a way that thinking that maths is not hard and I can do it. And trust me, the moment you start overcoming your fear of maths, things start to get very easy. So the first step is making sure that you're not scared of maths and that you have a mindset where you say that you can do whatever you want. The second point, which is arguably the most important when it comes to numerical subjects such as physics and maths, is being consistent. If you're not consistent when it comes to maths especially, you tend to lose every bit of information that you learned while doing your past papers or while just doing questions in general. So make sure that you do not slack off everyone now and then, and you stay consistent throughout the year. By consistent, I mean even in hours or 30 minutes every 1 to 2 days is a lot for maths. And if you continue this throughout the year, I'm guaranteeing you can get an A star. Now, the most important thing that a lot of students know but they still don't do is past papers, especially for maths. When it comes to maths, past papers is your friend. It is your key to success. Without past papers, there is no way you can get an A star, especially in A-level maths. So make sure that after completing all of your topics, you dive right into past papers, and we will come to that later on. Struggling topics is something that every student faces, whether, for example, my weakness in A-level maths was sequences and series. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically geometric sequences, arithmetic sequences, and it's not as simple as it seems. There were a lot of word problems which cause a lot of problems to many students. So maybe for you it might be circular measure, maybe trigonometry for you guys. It might vary from student to student. But the thing is, everyone has their weak topic. Now when it comes to IGCSE and A levels, your aim should be to make sure that those weaker topics do not cause you to lose marks in your actual exam. So what I would recommend is that if you're constantly finding a topic that you're getting wrong in past papers, start doing topical past papers. So as in like questions only from that topic from old past papers, and keep doing that until you start getting most of them right. And that is how you will maximize your marks. And last but not least, using resources is a great way to land yourself an A stars. For example, there are so many YouTubers and websites that help you achieve that. So yeah, those are all the main tips that you need to get an A star. It's really not that hard, but let's move on to past paper practice and how you should be doing your past papers. So the way you want to do your past papers is you want to do them yearly, and you want to do the first one. So for example, if your new specification started in let's say 2019, you have to start from January of 2019 and you go onwards. Okay, every time you have to make sure that you're finishing within the time limit, and if not that, at least leave 15 minutes of going through your questions and rechecking your answers. And the tip for A-level maths is that the first 5, if let's say your paper has 11 or 12 questions, the first 5 questions are going to be extremely easy. And maybe not always, but generally they are very easy compared to the latter part of the questions. So what I would recommend is that if you're doing past papers, aim to finish those first 5 questions as soon as you can, because when it comes to your actual exams, it will help a lot. While you're doing your past papers, it is important that you highlight your mistakes and go through it later on. So for example, I'm doing a past paper right now, right? I've completed within the time limit, and there are questions that I do not understand and that I have left completely. Now, what I would do is now go onto YouTube, search for that exact past paper, and go through the other person explaining it and solving it, and I would understand thoroughly how they're solving it and the whole thought process behind solving it. And whenever the next question similar to that comes up, I will make sure that I get it. If I do not get it, I will go back and do it as many times as I have to. Something that a lot of students do not think about is reading the question carefully. And you might ask, why does that matter so much? Sometimes exam boards like to give you small hints, and they give you hints within the question itself. So for example, I can give an example from A-Level Maths, Edexcel, is they use the word hence or therefore more. So that means you have to relate the previous part of the question. So for example, you have question 5, part A and part B, and they might ask hence in part B. So you have to relate part B with part A to get the correct answer. And a lot of exam boards do that, so make sure you pay attention. Another example that I can give is that when you're solving a quadratic equation, it always gives you 2 roots, and that is common knowledge. But your answer is meant to be one of the roots only. How do you differentiate? Almost 99% of the time in the question, in the first part of the question, it will write, for example, if you're finding the quadratic roots of A, it will write A is greater than 0. So obviously you have the negative quadratic and you have the positive quadratic. You will discard the negative because in the question it clearly says that A is greater than 0, and you will only take the positive quadratic. And that is how the question itself can give you hints sometimes. And yeah, last, as I said before, for the resources that use YouTube or websites or different stuff that can help you, and make sure you understand how to solve the harder question. Now moving on to the next point, which is your schedule and how you should be studying throughout the year. First of all, let's say you've just finished your GCSEs and you're going to A-Level next year and you're in the summer right now. Make sure, so for example, if there are 12 topics in your syllabus for math, make sure you get 4 out of those 12 done by August itself. Because what that will do, when you go to school, it will allow you to get ahead of others and also understand everything the teacher is teaching at that time. Now, after each topic, what I would recommend is that you do textbook questions. And I don't know about Cambridge, but for Edexcel A-Level, Edexcel has a great, amazing textbook that you can use. And at the end of each topic, it has a different level of difficulty for each question. So for example, there's easy, there's medium, there's hard, and then there's very hard. And that is the best way to understand a topic, especially for maths. So what you want to do after you've done a topic is that you want to attempt the easier question. If you can do them quickly and easily, move on to the bit harder, and then medium, and then hard, and then extremely hard. So do as many as you can, and the harder questions are really hard. So if you can do them, congratulations, you understand the topic. And then after that, after you've done textbook, is obviously you're gonna have to do past paper questions, which is the hardest way. It doesn't get harder than past paper questions, so make sure you move on to past papers. And approximately 3 to 4 months before your exams, so your actual board exams, aim to start yearly past papers. So there are not many for Edexcel A-Level. There's, I think, 15 of the new specification. So, you know, if you start 3 to 4 months before the actual exams, you can easily get them done. And if you do get them done, let's say a month before, I would recommend you start doing old specifications, because exam boards sometimes like to surprise you and bring up questions from the old specification. But yeah, that's all you need. All you need basically for maths, you just need to stay consistent. If you're not consistent in maths, you're not going to get the grade you want. So stay consistent. And now for the final part of the video, I have the general tips you can use during the exam itself. This is my opinion only. It may differ from one person to another person, but this is what I see best. Start off each question as fast as you can. As I mentioned before, the first 5 questions are usually the easiest one. Even for our GCSE, the first 2 pages are quite easy. So make sure that you do them as fast as you can, because your aim should be to leave as much time at the end for yourself as possible. So a good way of doing that is obviously by getting into practice of doing the first 5 questions as fast as you can. Time is obviously limited, and no matter what you do, you cannot exceed the time limit. So do not stop wasting your time on questions that you're not able to do, because all that will do is that it will take a big chunk of your actual allocated time, and then you won't be able to finish your paper. So if you find a question hard, leave it and move on to the next one, and keep doing that for as many questions as you find hard. If you have time at the end, come back and check. There's no reason to risk your paper for one specific question, you know. Make sure you show all of your working. So another example I can give here is the quadratic formula. A lot of students just tend to put it in their calculator and then get the answer, but that is wrong, because the examiner specifically asks for your working. So even if you write the quadratic formula and just input the values, that is enough working. So make sure show your working, because working obviously carries a lot of marks, and without working you cannot score marks, which will therefore lead to a decrease in your grade. And last but not least, use the appropriate stationery. So for example, if you're drawing a graph, you must use an HB pencil. If you use a pen, they will cut marks. So there's no reason to lose stupid marks, you know. And yeah, that's all. Just make sure you use the appropriate stationery, stay consistent, and practice past papers. Past papers are literally all you need when it comes to maths. And past papers are also what I used. Another tip I can give here, and this is for the people who stayed at the end. The tip is basically, every time you're doing a past paper, make short notes. So summarize all of the topics you're doing for maths. As you do the past paper, you learn new concepts, new style of solving questions, and you can just write them as a small notes. And every time you're doing another past paper and a similar question comes up, you can easily figure it out because you've already had that written down. But yeah, just stay consistent and do past papers. That's all you need for maths. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have a video recommendation, please leave it in the comments below. And that is it for today. Thank you for watching, as I said, and goodbye.